Hello, storytellers, it's Joshua B. Faulkner, and today I'm going to be giving you my thoughts over Thor Love and Thunder, the 4th movie in the Thor franchise, and the 29th movie in the MCU franchise. In Thor Love and Thunder is a film about Thor just wanting to go off and end his journey on the war with the Guardians of the Galaxy and go into peace and hostility, but that peace is interrupted as he's finding out all the dangers of the Gore the God Butchers that is suddenly going on a killing spree across the universe, and Thor is interrupted and going on that quest to gather a team in order to stop him. So let me know down in the comments below if you have seen Thor Love and Thunder. What are your thoughts on it? Where do you land on a spectrum of liking it versus not liking it? So overall, just starting with the positive, overall I highly enjoyed this movie. What it had to offer, there was a part in the second act especially where what you see in the trailers, there's a creative choice made with the editing, made with the visuals, that just really is a standout on all fronts. And overall, Chris Hemsworth, Natalie Portman, Tessa Thompson, all are respectively really good in their own roles, acting who they are. They're used to their characters, and therefore we get what exactly we expect. And overall, with the director's vision of this film, it felt like it did fairly well in portraying what he was going for, bringing some humor that brought a few laughs here and there, and overall just highly enjoyed what elements were really well done, and Christian Bale especially being especially good at his performance as Gore the God Butcher, creating one of the top tier villains that I just really got a lot out of from his performance and what they were portraying from him. But that brings us on to some mixed or negatives, in where the Gore was really good and just one of the top tier villains. Felt like we definitely needed a lot more screen time with him. He gave a solid performance and enough explanation where we understood the base layer of his character and got a little bit deeper, dug a little bit into his character, but we didn't quite get the mass amount of who he could be. Maybe it was cut out and we could have gotten more from what was missing from this film, or maybe we could have cut out a little bit more or balanced with where Thor was with him, just with the way they were expositioning this film. Because in the first part of this film, the way this film starts out is just really fresh to the MCU, and that's what some of this film is fresh, is just with the creative choice with the editing, as well as the beginning. That was fresh, but overall, it just had a lot of the sameness that we get from the MCU formula, and while that isn't inherently bad, it is getting a little bit tiring, especially as we're 29th film in, and we're getting 3 to 4 films a year, a ton of series where the formula isn't just cracking the code, that's really creating an entertainment that makes each film feel worth it. And with Taika Waititi's directing, as good as it is, just the humor involved for such a dark arc is very imbalanced. And while I did get a few of the joke where it did work for me and didn't feel completely out of place, it always felt like he was trying to outdo himself with creating the same joke, and it's almost the same throughout most of his movies, which isn't bad when they're each their own storyline and it's more appropriate for one story than the other. But in this arc, while there could be some humor to balance out the complete darkness, overall it just kind of ruined moments. And also within the first act itself, just really messed up some of the pacing and what we're going through, what we're expecting from this film, because it felt like they're doing something wrong and with what they were trying to really express, when ultimately Gore the God Butcher is one of the better villains that they just didn't really portray as well because of some of that meandering at the beginning, the lesser screen time with Gore, and just the way they were portraying Thor as a lesser, sort of different character than you're kind of used to without spoiling any of the plot. And also Natalie Portman playing Jane Foster, who there's interesting details that produces different arcs to her character that some parts we didn't get so much, and while there are some emotional arcs that we get within this film, that I was surprised by what sort of emotions were emitted from me from what I could see on screen. Overall, there are some parts where it just sort of was getting screwed up by what Taika Waititi's style was and what directing was good on its own. The writing was a little off, a little iffy, and just with the way they were handling things in such odd little ways, it felt artificial and not as exactly like a true story that they were trying to do the best they could to make into a dramatic feel, even if they were adding some humor in here and there. But ultimately, Thor Love and Thunder did disappoint a little bit on some fronts, and I have to give this film a 5.5 out of 10. Let me know down in the comments below what your thoughts on Thor Love and Thunder were. Do you disagree, or do you agree and just wish it lived up to a little bit more of the hype that it was going for? So let me know all your thoughts and comments down in the comments below. Make sure to like this video and subscribe so you don't miss any future Marvel content, and join the film culture community and rejoin together. Thank you for watching. Bye for now.